This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Good morning, 7 o'clock right now. Hope you had a wonderful weekend and you got to soak up some of that sunshine we had yesterday.
I mean, we had that extra hour, the later sunset. I know everyone enjoyed that because I sat on my balcony watching people enjoy it outside.
Oh, it was fun on Friday watching everyone outside. There were kids I have never seen riding their bikes across the neighborhood. Like, that's how nice Friday was. And yesterday, there were a lot of people out and about. And I have a feeling that a lot more people are going to be out and about again today with the pleasant weather in our forecast. But what we have going on right now, some fog showing up, especially on our cameras towards Bardstown and E-Town. And we have had that dense fog advisory expanded further to the north. It now includes those of you in Grayson, Hardin, Nelson counties, along with LaRue, Hart, Washington, Marion, Greene, Taylor, and Adair counties. It goes until 10 a.m. this morning Eastern time. And it's in many of these spots that we're seeing visibility well below a mile. And it may take for some of you until 10, 11 o'clock this morning to completely get rid of the fog. We're sitting mainly in the 40s to start off the day. We'll end up with the 70s for later on this afternoon for your highs as we start to add in some clouds then. And then we'll talk about some more spotty rain chances for the overnight tonight into early tomorrow. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so much. And at 7:01, again, that dense, patchy fog out there. Something you're going to want to watch out for as you head off to work and school this morning on your commute. Good morning to you. Keeping our eyes on the roadways, not too bad right now. This is a live shot at 65 southbound at the Kennedy Bridge. Things looking pretty good. Now it's the northbound lanes over there where you see, it looks like two emergency responders over there on that side helping out a disabled vehicle. So those are northbound lanes, and you're going to want to watch your speed as you come around that curve in that area. Otherwise, looking pretty good right now where you see the little icon there with the red in it. That is traffic lights reported not working, and that is an area at Strawberry Lane at Southside Drive. So certainly watch your speed in that area and make sure that you're watching out for the other drivers. Your drive times right now, if you're on the Steiner, are looking pretty good at 10 minutes or under. 64 to 71 at 8 minutes. Bardstown Road over to 64 at 7. And 65 to Bardstown Road, you're looking at 6 minutes. Ladies, back over to you for now.
Thank you. Law enforcement on both sides of the Ohio River are boosting patrols at the Big Four Bridge.
It comes after a video of a fight involving large groups of teenagers on Friday night made its rounds on social media. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote is live at the Big Four Bridge this morning with more on the aftermath of that. Kirsten?
Yeah, that video spread quickly online and gained thousands of views, comments, and questions. And here's what that video shows. This was shared with Wave News. Now, it shows the first fight, which appears to start at the Indiana side at the base of the bridge. Jeffersonville police say that officers broke up that crowd. Then a second, smaller group later returned to the bridge. Police say that officers made contact with that group, and they returned to Louisville. Video shows the group kicking, punching, and beating what appears to be at least one person on the ground. At one point, someone in the crowd is heard yelling, "Throw her off the bridge." A Jeffersonville resident who asked not to be identified said he's concerned the situation could escalate.
You see the Facebook videos of it, and a lot of comments on that Facebook post is people explaining this is the reason why they carry a weapon, and it's going to come down to that.
In a statement, the Jeffersonville Police Department said the incident was isolated. They said that there is no current threat to the public. Both them and LMPD say that they will be increasing their patrols here around the bridge, making themselves more visible in the aftermath. And as the months get more warmer too, of course, no arrests have been made in this case. We'll keep you updated if anything changes. Reporting live, Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Thank you, Kirsten. U.S. Central Command says another U.S. service member has been killed in the war with Iran. This is the 7th service member killed in action during Operation Epic Fury. Central Command said in a statement the service member was seriously injured at the scene of an attack on troops in Saudi Arabia 1 week ago. They passed away last night. Their identity will be withheld until 24 hours after family is notified. The announcement comes after the dignified transfer of the remains of the 6 other troops who were killed in the first days of the war with Iran.
PhD students at the University of Kentucky who are originally from Iran are worrying about their families as the conflict escalates. AJ Patel has their perspective.
There is no limitation. They can kill children, they can kill women, they can kill anyone. I mean, they don't care.
If being a PhD candidate wasn't stressful enough, Sadard Rabar and Farshid Tarhipur are thousands of miles away from a home now facing war.
I have a hair loss, a part of hair loss on my body, also a part of, I don't know, it was like some scratch on my body. All of them is because of the stress.
Rabar's from Kurdistan, an area located in the western part of Iran, where he says missiles were striking his home city. Destruction that's not indicative of the Iranian community as a whole.
We are a peaceful, civilized people, which we are occupied by Islamic regime. I mean, this is a terroristic organization.
Both students tell me they don't speak freely when talking to their families over the phone because they fear their calls are being monitored. That's if they can get a hold of them in the first place.
None of them, I don't think so that any one of them have accessibility to internet.
How are they able to talk to you? Even I know it was just for 2 minutes.
Yeah, only they call as a direct line for only 2 minutes or under 2 minutes, because after that the phone cut off. Most of the time, the government try to suppress and expose pressure on their people.
That's why Tariqpour says his loved ones don't know the full scope of the war, like the attacks going on in other parts of the world, because it's a country with state-run media.
I told my mother, you only see the Iranian media, and the reality is different.
And just because Rabar's in the U.S., that doesn't mean he's not subject to the rules. He describes how he was on his private social media page sharing his thoughts on the conflict, and officials weren't happy.
They went to my brother's market and they asked him, you should ask your brother to stop posting stuff on Instagram. The situation is extreme.
And they fear it'll stay this way until a leader who prioritizes the Iranian people's interests takes the helm.
After this dictatorship, the world is better place for us.
Iranian state TV says the country's new supreme leader has been chosen. Mojtaba Hamadeh will be taking control of Iran. The son of Ayatollah Ali Hamadeh was considered a contender even before an Israeli strike killed his father at the start of the war, despite never being elected or appointed to a government position. President Donald Trump says he wants a say in who comes to power once the war is over. He also says a new leader is not going to last long without his approval. President Trump is expected to visit northern Kentucky Wednesday.
The president will visit the Verse Logistics contract packaging facility in Boone County. President Trump is expected to talk about affordability. He'll also be in Cincinnati that day. The White House says he'll discuss the launch of Trump RX, his initiative aimed at lowering drug prices in the U.S., and his economic accomplishments. President Trump will also stop at Thermo Fisher Scientific, which is a pharmaceutical and biotech research company. It'll be his first time back in Cincinnati since he was sworn in as president last year.
The National Weather Service is kicking off Severe Weather Preparedness Week today in Indiana. Clark County EMS leaders are doing their part to make sure everyone has a place to go during bad storms and tornadoes.
Rob Wells is back with how one county is doing just that. Rob.
Hi, Olivia. The goal of Severe Weather Preparedness Week is to educate people about hazards of severe thunderstorms, flooding, and tornadoes, and to help everybody be prepared when severe weather actually happens. Clark County Indiana Emergency Management is identifying voluntary storm places. They may include businesses, churches, community organizations, or other facilities that are willing to allow nearby residents to seek shelter during severe weather. They're considered voluntary and not official or even certified spots, nor are they staffed by Clark County Emergency Management. And while the county has had a few volunteers so far willing to open up their doors and help, they still need a few more.
Primarily, we're looking for those community centers, the churches, those nonprofit organizations, and just locations like that typically have a basement, due to some community events that they host there frequently. And we just want to, take those single-use locations, turn them into multi-purposes for both a community location and a public safety location.
He says that so far they've got 2 volunteer spaces, which include an art center and a community meeting facility. Meanwhile, a master list of volunteer shelters will be on the county's website, along with some push alerts sent to local residents to keep people informed of where they can go during emergencies. Now, if your organization has a safe interior space in Clark County and is willing to participate, he encourages you to register. We'll have a link for you later this morning on wave3.com. Shannon, back over to you.
Thank you, Rob. A former JCPS teacher's aide and basketball coach is set to be sentenced today after he was convicted of sexually abusing his players. A jury found Christopher Morris guilty of sex abuse and sodomy charges in January. Prosecutors said both of the victims were under the age of 16, and Morris was their AAU basketball team coach. The jury recommended a 165-year prison sentence for Morris, and a judge will issue their final sentence today. Still to come, oil prices continue to go up because of the conflict in Iran.
Here when the last time prices were as high as they are, plus the average prices in the U.S. coming up on Sunrise.
After beating Syracuse in the quarterfinals and North Carolina in the semifinals, U of L women's basketball team faced off against Duke in the ACC tournament final. After a slow start, the Cards rallied to go on a 13-0 run in the middle of the first quarter to take a 21-14 lead going into the second quarter. The Blue Devils would answer with a 7-0 run to start the second. After a back-and-forth quarter, U of L took a 2-point lead into halftime. The Cards took a 3-point lead into the fourth, where they found themselves up 4 points with under a minute left to play, but they couldn't hold on to the lead. Duke scored 4 unanswered, and that game then went into overtime. U of L outscored 10-5 to drop the championship in a heartbreaker 70-65. Now they wait for Selection Sunday on the 15th following the men's selection show.
Tonight, a trip to Rupp Arena is on the line in the boys' 7th region basketball tournament. The 3rd-ranked St. X Tigers will face off against the 9th-ranked Ballard Bruins at 7 o'clock at Valley High School. After being down in the first quarter, St. X pulled away from rivals Trinity on Friday to win the first semifinal of the night by a final score of 61-46. And in the second semifinal game, Ballard put on a dominant performance, beating Manual by 20 points. The two teams split their regular season matchups, St. X winning by 2 on January 14th. And just a few weeks later, Ballard downed the Tigers by 3 on February 6th. So we'll see who breaks that tie tonight with that big games tip-off at 7 o'clock.
All right, so March Madness is here, and it's also here with the weather, too.
Listen, y'all just bear with me as we head over the next week and a half, because the weather is going to try to do a little bit of everything. So what we're seeing right now, this stationary front basically along the Kentucky and Tennessee border. And because of its location, we have just enough of that moisture across our southern counties to create some fog to start off the day. Now, most of us are dealing with clear skies. However, we are keeping an eye on some of those lower level clouds and that fog for those of you basically south of 64. Along and south of the parkways from Litchfield to Bardstown and south, this is where we have the dense fog advisory in place until 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can clearly see that fog showing up on our SkyTrack cameras in Bardstown and into E-Town, with clearer conditions showing up in Simpsonville and towards the airport in Louisville. But overall, the majority of that fog is basically from Meade County into parts of Bullitt County and south. We have been dealing with visibility well below a mile in many spots, so please take it slow as you are heading out this morning. The majority of us dealing with temperatures this morning in the 40s, so we are off to a cool start. Heading into the afternoon, jumping into the 70s for your highs, so really warming up, especially for this time of the year. And part of the reason that we're looking at this warmer weather in our forecast will be, yes, the sunshine that we'll see today, but also those gusty southwesterly winds near 25 miles per hour. The fog that we're dealing with this morning, mainly across Kentucky, will gradually mix out as we head towards that 9, 10, 11 o'clock time frame. Heading into the early afternoon, plenty of sunshine across the entire region. Then we start to add in more of those clouds for those of you along and west of I-65 for the late afternoon, evening hours, and everybody gets in on those clouds overnight tonight into early tomorrow as a warm front moves through our region. And with that warm front will not only comes the clouds for overnight, but also some scattered showers moving in after midnight into early on your Tuesday morning. Some of these scattered showers and thunderstorms can produce a little bit of that locally heavy rainfall. Then we get into the late morning hours, a couple of spotty showers, some drizzle here and there. Drier conditions showing up for your Tuesday afternoon with highs tomorrow in the mid to upper 70s. But please don't forget that the Indiana statewide tornado drill will be at 10:15 a.m. tomorrow morning. A good time to make sure that whether you're in Indiana or Kentucky, you have a severe plan in place. We have an alert day in place for your Wednesday as we watch for some strong to potentially severe storms moving in. We can see that rain as early as Wednesday morning, but the main severe threat looks to be in the afternoon and evening as the cold front moves through. Keep in mind, already have a slight risk of severe weather for most of our region. All severe threats are on the table for your Wednesday. Cooling down on Thursday, warming up through the weekend, and watching for some wintry weather trying to show up for the first half of next week. Shannon.
Thank you. Oil prices continue to soar. Sunday, oil prices rose above $100 a barrel for the first time since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022.
U.S. crude futures rose nearly 15%. Brent futures, which is the global benchmark, increased more than 12% to $104 a barrel. The rise in oil prices is having a major impact on gas prices in the United States. Gas prices have spiked since the U.S. conflict with Iran broke out more than a week ago. AAA says the average price for gas is now $3.45 a gallon. That's up 16% from a week ago.
The U.S. military says it's carried out a strike targeting suspected narco-terrorists in the Eastern Pacific. According to officials, a Southcom commander general authorized a strike against a vessel believed to be operated by designated terrorist organizations involved in drug trafficking. The vessel was reportedly moving along known narcotics routes in the Eastern Pacific when it was targeted. U.S. officials say 6 male narco-terrorists were killed in the operation, while no U.S. military personnel were injured. Investigators say they may be getting closer to answers in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, as new evidence is now being examined near her home.
Investigators are now examining a damaged utility box discovered near her home in Tucson. Investigators say the equipment could be connected to a reported internet outage in the area around the time Guthrie vanished. The outage may have disrupted nearby surveillance systems, potentially affecting video evidence that could help track the suspect's movements. Experts involved involved in the search believe the person responsible may not have acted alone, suggesting possible accomplices. Authorities say they are closer to a breakthrough, but much of the evidence remains confidential as the investigation continues.
Still ahead, it's been over a week since a car went through a restaurant in the Highlands.
How a fundraiser is helping their employees over the weekend, coming up. The first day of the 2026 Paralympic Games started off strong for the United States and an athlete from Louisville. Oksana Masters is Team USA's most decorated Winter Paralympian of all time, coming into the Games with 19 total medals. This weekend, she reminded the world just why she is the greatest to do it, cruising to a 16-second victory in the women's 7.5-kilometer biathlon and taking home her first gold medal in Italy, which marked her 20th overall. She became the 6th American to win 20 or more medals across the summer and winter Paralympic Games. And this weekend, Louisville was filled with thousands of volleyball players from around the country as the city hosted the Bluegrass Club Volleyball Tournament, which is one of the largest in the country. More than 1,200 teams played at the Convention Center and the Expo Center. The tournament brings millions of dollars to the city every year and has only grown in time. Last year alone, it brought in more than $11 million to Louisville. Club teams came to the Bluegrass Tournament from 26 states, Canada, and Puerto Rico. The Kentucky Derby Festival's Derby Burger Contest is now down to the final four.
And after a week of public voting, Wave Country decided the 4 burgers that they want to see in the cook-off. So first is the Canonero, the second by Jenny Fernandez. There's also the Smoke Show Slaw cheeseburger made from returning champ Ira Moment. Third is the Goober Burger from Jason Thrasher. And then last but not least is the Jerk from Greg Yop. The 4 chefs will fire up the recipes in a cook-off to determine who will be crowned the 2026 Derby Burger Champion. The cook-off is this Thursday at the Middletown Kroger on Shelbyville Road starting at 10 a.m. And whichever burger comes out on top will be the champ and then featured at this year's Chow Wagon. It's now been over a week since a Highlands restaurant had to shut down after a car slammed right through the storefront. And they say they won't be able to open for a month, but the community is helping them. This is what Kiwami Ramen looked like last Saturday night. A car drove straight into their main dining area, and the damage was so bad they're going to have to be closed for several weeks. Now another restaurant owner is helping them. The Louisville Streetery held a fundraiser for Kiwami throughout the weekend. The ramen shop did a pop-up at the location, and the owner and head chef talked about the situation.
It kind of shows that, we're just not another restaurant on the street. We have people that really care and back us up on this. it's nice to know that people out there are willing to help take care of us when we try to take care of them.
Kwame Ramen's owner says he plans to use the funds to support his employees as they wait on insurance and repairs.
Well, thanks so much for joining us here for Sunrise Extra. Hope you have a great Monday.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. A former JCPS teacher's aide and basketball coach is set to be sentenced today after he was convicted of sexually abusing some of his players. A jury found Christopher Morris guilty of sex abuse and sodomy charges in January. Prosecutors say both of the victims were under the age of 16, and Morris was their AAU basketball team coach. The jury recommended a 165-year prison sentence for Morris, and a judge will issue their final sentence today. Let's go to Tawana right now. How's the weather to start off this week?
Well, we are starting everything off with a bit of some fog, and we're seeing that dense fog advisory basically along and south of the parkways until 10 a.m. Eastern time. That fog showing up on our cameras in Bardstown and Eatown. Clearer conditions up into Louisville at the airport, and for those of you in Simpsonville. So that fog will continue to be an issue through the 10, 11 o'clock time frame for many of you. But once that sun comes up, it will gradually help to mix things out. So we just got to take some time to deal with this. Most of us are dealing with the 40s for your morning temperatures. We get into the afternoon, we'll see 70s for highs with a mix of sun and clouds overhead, adding in some spotty rain showers to our forecast for the overnight hours into Tuesday morning. It will be a little bit windy for this afternoon with some gusts between 20 and 30 miles per hour, but then we'll watch for that rain around for the early half of your Tuesday. An alert day in place for Wednesday for some strong storms possible then. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so much. Keeping our eyes on a traffic alert. This is 264 East, the ramp to Shelbyville Road. We have reports of a two-car crash in that area, kind of slowing things down. So if you are approaching that area, certainly watch your speed. Also keeping our eyes on 65 south at Kennedy Bridge. The northbound lanes there are looking a lot more clear than they were earlier after we had a crash there. So just watch your speed. Have a great morning. We'll see you in 25 minutes.
This Wave News update is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. The Floyd County man accused of killing his own father and stepfather is due back in court today. Friday, prosecutors filed a probable cause affidavit for 23-year-old Easton Good in the Greenville shootings. Good has been charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of criminal recklessness. The initial hearing will be at 11:30 this morning. Let's go to Tawana right now. How are we looking for this Monday?
Well, we are dealing with more of that fog across the region. We have the dense fog advisory along and south of the parkways until 10 a.m. Eastern time. But now we're starting to see that fog pushing further to the north towards 64. And we're seeing that fog really taking over for those of you in the Simpsonville area. More of that fog showing up near Bardstown, E-Town as well. Further to the north towards the metro, we're A-OK as of right now. But that fog will continue to become a little bit more dense as we head over the next half an hour to 45 minutes. Visibility in many spots along and south of 64, now less than a mile. So please take it slow on those roadways, especially near bus stops. Temperatures right now in the 40s will end up in the 70s for this afternoon with a mix of sun and clouds, and watching for rain chances increasing overnight. Rob?
Okay, Tawana, thanks so much. And at 7:57, cleanup continues after a 2-car crash. This is at 264 East, the ramps to Shelbyville Road. So there is some stop and go in that area. Certainly watch your speed as you go through there. Also, just getting reports of about the last 10 minutes of a crash. This is the 71 South ramp to I-65. So certainly watch your speed in that area. Also getting reports of traffic lights out still at the area of Strawberry Lane at Southside Drive. So certainly watch your speed in that area. We'll see you in another 25 minutes from now.
This Wave News update is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. Search crews in Jackson County, Indiana are still looking for a man who went missing in floodwaters this week. He was first reported missing Friday morning when a boat capsized east of Cortland. The Indiana Department of Natural Resources says 2 people were trying to help a stranded driver when their airboat was forced underwater. The operator got to safety, but the passenger was last seen downstream. Neither had on life jackets. Crews are continuing their search efforts this week. Now here is Tawana, but look at the weather.
And what we're seeing right now is that dense fog advisory has been pushed further to the north. It now includes the Louisville Metro, Shelby County, and those of you towards Franklin County and everyone south of that because of that fog that is gradually moving northward. So we are seeing some slightly improving conditions for those of you in the Bardstown area, but that fog's still holding on in E-Town and over into Simpsonville, and starting to see a little bit of that fog as well showing up near the airport. Good news is that the sun is over the horizon, so this is going to help to mix things out. But still, for many of you along the parkways and northbound towards 64, you are dealing with that lower visibility. So just keep that in mind, especially with the sun now up, reflecting off of that fog. That's going to drop visibility even more in some spots. Still mainly in the 40s right now. Once we get past around 10 o'clock this morning, that fog really mixing out, leaving behind some sunshine for the afternoon and highs in the 70s. Rob?
Tawana, thanks so much on 828. Things looking a lot better out on the roadways this morning, especially at 264 East, the ramps at Shelbyville Road. We had a 2-car accident there. Really slowed things down about 25-30 minutes ago, but things looking a lot more better and smoother out in that area. Also keeping our eyes on another report of an accident. This is at Dixie Highway at Myers Lane, so certainly watch that area closely. And traffic lights still out at Strawberry Lane and Southside Drive.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. The Kentucky Derby Festival's Derby Burger Contest is now down to the final 4 after a week of public voting. Wave Country decided the 4 burgers they want to see in a cook-off. First is the Canero, the second by Jenny Fernandez. Also the Smoke Show Slaw Cheeseburger made by returning champ Ira Moman. Third is the Goober Burger from Jason Thrasher. And then it's the Jerk Burger from Greg Yop. The 4 chefs will fire up their recipes in a cook-off to determine who will be crowned this year's champion. The cook-off is this Thursday at the Milltown Kroger on Shelbyville Road starting at 10 a.m. Whichever burger comes out on top will be crowned champion and featured at this year's Chow Wagon. Let's go to Tawana right now with a look at the weather.
And what we're seeing across the region for this morning, more of that fog drifting to the north. This is why the Louisville Metro over towards Frankfort and south are all now included in the dense fog advisory until 10 a.m. You can see that fog still having an impact towards Bardstown, a little bit more so towards E-Town, and now into parts of Simpsonville.